My name is Ethan Harper, and exactly 1 month ago, on the morning I turned 37, I shuffled into my kitchen in Portland, Oregon, expecting nothing more than strong coffee and the same heavy silence that had swallowed my marriage over the past year. What I got instead still feels like a scene from someone else's life. There sat Chloe, my wife of 10 years, at the breakfast table, holding a crisp white envelope and wearing a smile so cold and cutting it could have sliced right through me. "Happy birthday, Ethan," she said with a playful flick of the envelope across the table. "Here's your gift." It wasn't a card. Chloe stopped writing me birthday cards somewhere around year 3. Still, out of habit, and maybe a tiny flicker of stupid hope, I opened it. Divorce papers. Full packet. Signed by her. Ready for my signature. Before the shock even hit me, Chloe started laughing. Not awkward giggles, not nervous chuckles. Real delighted laughter. Like she just pulled off the world's cleverest prank and couldn't wait for my standing ovation. "I figured you'd actually thank me," she said, leaning back with a smug little sip of orange juice. "You've looked miserable for months." I set the papers down like they might explode. "Interesting way to say good morning," I managed. "Oh, come on, Ethan. Grow up. This is the best thing for both of us." She said it so casually, like she just handed me concert tickets instead of the legal death certificate of our marriage. I didn't fight back. Truth is, our relationship had been dying a slow, icy death. No cheating that I knew of. No screaming matches, just a chilling distance that grew wider every day. Chloe had turned into someone sharp-edged and impatient, annoyed by the way I breathed, the way I asked about her day, the way I existed. I'd become a piece of furniture she kept tripping over. Still, getting served divorce papers with a side of birthday laughter? That one stung deeper than I can ever explain. Then the kitchen door swung open again. In walked Harper, Chloe's younger sister. If Chloe had become winter, Harper was pure summer. Gentle voice, messy ponytail, always barefoot in the house, leaving little trails of paperback books and colorful socks everywhere. She was the kind of beautiful that sneaks up on you, like sunlight spilling through curtains on a lazy morning. The second she spotted the papers, she froze. "You did not," Harper whispered, eyes locked on her sister with pure disbelief. "Relax," Chloe waved her off. "He's fine. He's wanted out for ages anyway." I stayed quiet. No point correcting her. Harper walked behind my chair, rested the lightest hand on my shoulder, and leaned down just enough that Chloe, busy scrolling her phone, never noticed. Her breath brushed my ear, and she whispered 6 little words that turned my entire world upside down. "Sign them, and I'm finally free to date you." I stopped breathing. For a split second I thought I'd imagined it. Harper had always been sweet, always caring, but never once crossed a line. She wasn't reckless. She wasn't cruel. So why say that now? She straightened up, stepped away, and started pulling stuff out of the fridge like nothing happened. Chloe didn't suspect a thing. My heart was pounding so loud I was sure the neighbors could hear it. Harper's cheeks flushed pink. She bit her bottom lip. Same nervous habit she'd had the very first day we met, when she accidentally dumped an entire bowl of spaghetti on my shoes and apologized about 20 times before laughing at herself. "You okay, Ethan?" she asked, voice perfectly steady. Chloe still didn't look up. I stared at the divorce papers again. Then I looked at Harper. Something warm, something I hadn't felt in months, started melting the ice inside my chest. Picked up the pen. Chloe finally glanced over. "You're signing right now? That fast?" Click. "Yep," I said. "Right now." I signed every page. No hesitation. No anger. No fear. Because in that moment, signing didn't feel like an ending. It felt like stepping outside after being trapped in a freezer for years, and remembering what the sun felt like. Harper's lips curved into the tiniest secret smile, just enough to tell me I hadn't imagined a single word. When I slid the sign packet back to Chloe, she actually looked surprised. She'd clearly rehearsed a dramatic fight in her head, yelling tears, accusations, something juicy to tell her friends later. Instead, she got calm, quiet relief. Her smile faltered. "Well, that was easier than I expected." "It usually is," I said softly, "when something's been dead for a long time." You could see the shift in her eyes. For years she'd held all the power with her coldness. In that kitchen, the power flipped. She stuffed the papers in her designer bag, grabbed her keys and said, Good luck, Ethan. My lawyer will be in touch. Then she walked out. No goodbye. No sorry. Just the hollow click of the front door closing on a 10-year marriage before I'd even had breakfast. Harper waited a few beats of silence, then asked gently, "You okay?" I let out the longest breath of my life. Honestly? Yeah, I think I am. She stepped closer, searching my face. I'm so sorry she did it like that, on your birthday of all days. That was cruel. It's fine, I lied. Then softer. Actually, no, it wasn't fine. But it's done. You didn't deserve that kind of ending, she said fiercely. The silence that followed wasn't heavy anymore. It felt safe. After a moment she asked, "Want breakfast?" I was about to make blueberry pancakes. I can leave if you need space. Space was the last thing I wanted. Pancakes sound perfect, I told her. Her whole body relaxed like she'd been holding her breath for years. She moved around the kitchen like she belonged there, cracking eggs, humming under her breath, knowing exactly where everything lived. It hit me how many mornings she quietly brought warmth into this house while Chloe froze everything around us. We sat at the island while the pancakes cooked. There should have been awkwardness, but there wasn't. It felt peaceful, human. When she slid a plate in front of me, she finally asked the question floating between us. "Ethan, you really meant it? Signing that fast?" "I've been ready for a long time," I admitted. She nodded, relief flickering across her face. Good. We talked for hours about everything we'd both been holding in. How I'd been sleeping on the very edge of the bed for months. How she'd begged Chloe to try couples counseling. How much it killed her to watch her sister treat me like I was disposable. Then, after a long, quiet pause, she looked me straight in the eyes and said, "I meant what I whispered. I felt this way for years. I just never thought there'd be a right time to say it." I was speechless. The courage it took for her to admit that out loud, on the same day her sister walked out, blew me away. "Harper," I started. She shook her head. "You don't have to say anything today. I know it's complicated. I know it's messy. I just needed you to know I wasn't joking. Not even a little." I reached across the counter and covered her hand with mine. She didn't pull away. "You're the first person in this house who made me feel seen in years," I told her. "The only one who ever asked if I was okay." Her eyes lifted, bright, honest, a little teary. "I always saw you, Ethan. I just didn't think I had the right to say it." By the time the afternoon sun stretched across the kitchen floor, my ruined birthday didn't feel ruined at all. It felt like the first day of the rest of my life. A few hours later, Harper stood at the door, keys in hand. "If you need anything at all, or if you just want company, call me. Please." "I will," I promised. And I meant it. She hesitated for half a second, then rose up on her toes and pressed the softest kiss to my cheek. It wasn't fireworks yet. It was a quiet promise of something neither of us fully understood yet. When the door closed behind her, I looked around, at the empty spot where the divorce papers had been, at the half-eaten pancakes cooling on the counter, at the sunlight pouring in, and I realized something that still gives me chills. That wasn't the day my marriage ended. That was the day my real life finally began. And for the first time in longer than I can remember, I felt truly, ridiculously, undeniably happy.